up, NRW peeps? It is your boy Clint Lawrence here. Level Up Comedy. We're here with CY, CC, and Marianne. Guys, we're with the Marianne with the plan.
Yes.
And we're here to talk about Game of Thrones.
You know the theme song, CY.
I mean, I can put it on my phone if you really want.
No, we hum it. That's how we
A
bring
Knights
in
of the
our
Seven Kingdoms.
reviews. So we're going to review A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is the second episode in season 8.
Yeah.
Before we do, we wanted to try something interesting for this one. Since they're trying new things, we'll try something new.
All right.
And the Night's Watch.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Patrick. I'm sure you've seen these. They're infamous because of Game of Thrones fans are going crazy. It's the infamous limited edition Oreos. I thought it would be really cool to do with our recaps, have our panel be representative of each house, such as the house, because I'm the noob, so I don't know them all like they do. We have the White Walkers, we have the House Lannister, the House Targaryen, and the House Stark. They're going to choose their respective house, and they will focus for the rest of our season, this last season of recaps, on their respective house. So,
All right, do we eat an Oreo to pick our house?
So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open up the throne Oreos, and you're just going to stick your hand in, choose your Oreo, and rep your house.
Is it random?
Is it random, or are we picking?
Yeah, we don't. I can't tell which is which.
Oh, I thought I was
on there.
Okay.
So random.
What if we pick?
I am House Targaryen.
Oh!
If one of you guys choose the same, then you're gonna have to go back in again.
That means I get
Because you got to do something different.
I got the Starks.
The
She's a
Starks.
Stark.
I got
All
the
right.
Wolves. What's about the
I'm
North?
gonna take it to Marianne over here real quick.
I'm also a Stark.
Well, so you gotta go back
You
in.
gotta
You gotta switch it up.
Pick a different one.
Different
Put your
Oreo.
hands all over the cookies.
What'd you get?
Lannister.
Lannister.
Oh, that
So that leaves.
And us two over here, although you
You're
probably
behind the
rarely
wall.
see CY and myself.
There's only one more house left. It's the night.
So this is just for shits and giggles.
White Walkers.
He's got the Night King.
And I'm, what is this?
That's the Targaryens.
Targaryen. All right, I'm Targaryen.
No, I'm Targaryen. There's
Oh,
only
yeah, but
four.
you are. Our doesn't matter.
He's like, no, Targaryen.
You guys got it.
All right.
All right. So, boom.
How awesome was that episode?
I'm going to be focusing
Super
on
awesome.
the Targaryens. So, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. What did we think of this episode? I thought it was great. I thought it was basically the calm before the storm. So we got 2 episodes of Calm Before the Storm, and I'm thinking there's just going to be so much packed into the next 4 episodes. It's going to be unbelievable. I don't know if my heart can take it. I don't know if my heart... Like, watching everybody just have kind of their happy moments, like Arya having her little happy moment, Brienne getting knighted, Jaime being reunited with his brother, everyone basically getting what they want to some degree. I don't know...
Except for Tormund.
That's true. He was thirsty. He was thirsty, and he showed it when he had his ale.
Yes, he did. It's only the finest of breast milk.
His ale was his thirst was unquenched. But I enjoyed the episode a lot. I like what they set up. Cece, what did you think?
I thought it was good. Like you said, ultimate cliffhanger. Someone was telling me that they're going to wait until the season's over and then binge watch it. I'm like, I don't know how you can do that, first of all, with all the spoilers.
Be 6 episodes.
Well, that, and it's going to be so much, like, I've watched 2 episodes in one night just to, like, catch up once. And it was, like, emotionally taxing. Like, I don't know how you can do that. So, shout out to that person. You are callous as hell. But I thought the episode was great. And like you said, everybody got what they wanted, and like ultimate cliffhanger, like, whoa, the Night King is coming. And then, like you said, all the queens were just so worried about their egos, and Sansa's all like, well, what about the North? So, lots of different power dynamics coming into play. And then Arya's definitely up to something. I don't know what she up to, but she wanted that weapon. And it was
Well,
like,
she got that weapon.
She did.
got that weapon.
She got
How
that
y'all
weapon.
feel about that? Because there was some controversy online. People were like complaining.
Well,
I thought, girl, get it in. That's what I would have done.
well, everyone's like fixated on the fact that, they're fixated on 2011, 2013 Arya, where
yeah.
they think that she's still a little girl. But she's come of age.
She's a grown woman now.
And I think it was kind of cool how, because her entire upbringing, she had these like near rape scenarios where she like almost got, raped on several occasions. And the one time where she like got hers, like she was in complete control of the situation, other than Gendry like pretty much consenting to it. And but she was like running it. So, it was like that was kind of right, run me that D. So that was pretty cool.
I actually agree with everything you guys said there. I think also it's the one time since season 1 we've really seen the humanity in her.
Yes.
She's very much the assassin. The of all the Starks right now, she's the most hardcore.
Yeah.
Who has just kept going. So she's never had that time to relax and to have a chance at anything girls her age.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a chance at. So I think this little thing and I forget what episode it is, but her and Gendry, it harkens back to when she didn't want to be split from Gendry initially, remember, and she says, or he said, I forget which one, said, I can be your home. And also going back again, remember in season 1, Robert and Ned had talked about their houses being united.
Right. Yeah.
Initially it was supposed to be through Joffrey and Sansa,
Right.
but not. And what really worked out really cool for me is Gendry is perfectly suited. Like they're both of them have things that are I think really complement each other. Well, he's not threatened by her at all.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he hasn't ever neither one of them was ever able to claim their status of who they should have been. Like she should have been a lady of House Stark and able to carry out, and Gendry should have been the heir to the Baratheon.
Well, he was never supposed to be because he was a bastard. And that's the other thing.
Well, that's true.
One thing I found odd is that she didn't really seem to make that final decision and go about pursuing what she pursued until after he mentioned, oh, by the way, I'm actually a Baratheon bastard. So I'm not because she's been kind of schemy in her life. So I don't know if there's a scheme behind that at all.
Oh, you think she was scheming with him?
It's possible. I don't know either way, but I did. It stuck out to me that she didn't really start pursuing Gendry until after that came out.
Well, part of it could also be just her being a teenager and not really knowing what she wants and just being so focused on being a serial killer.
Yeah.
It wasn't really her top priority.
I mean, I think it was very telling what Arya said. She said, I've seen many faces of death. I'm anxious to see this one. I think Arya knows what is coming and how dark it is and how it will probably end for everyone. So I don't think she has any scheme or any designs on what's coming in the future. I mean, she cares for her family, but I think she knows how dire or what you call it? What's the card? What's it called when it's everything is how bleak the situation is? It's this is the end. I'm gonna get this D, and then I'm gonna face the final face of death that I've been waiting for all this time.
And then it comes full circle too with Bran and how much of a centerpiece he is. The Night King is coming after him.
He's marked him, and he wants to get that 3-eyed raven.
Yeah.
I'm the 3-eyed raven. So, what were your favorite parts of the episode? CY, what's up?
I just liked the whole party between all of the. Brienne and Tyrion, and just everyone's just the senior knights, the senior generals know that there's not much else they can do, so they're just gonna sit around and have no offense to Brienne, but it's just like a gentleman's club dinner where it's just we're gonna sit around, we know we've got our shit together, we all respect each other, we are going to
this is it.
Have a night while we still can.
With a K. Because they made a night.
And then, of course, there's the very, moving part that a lot of people are talking about where, they finally get around to knighting Brienne, and it being, they came up with, a king doesn't have to do it, any knight can do it, so
Right.
let's do it.
Which is ironic because, like you said, it was very much like a gentleman's club atmosphere, but yet the only woman in the room, kind of got like her just due, which was really cool. What's on your mind? Because I know you got something on.
So I agree. I agree with everything you guys said. I really did like that part.
Mm-hmm.
What stuck out to me is what happens. When people are able to realize there's something more important, and they're like, let's just drop this shit because we've been fighting over stuff that doesn't matter. So since I'm repping House Lannister on my Oreo here, I got to talk about Jaime for a minute because this is a character I think that's just been always an amazing guy to watch, and to see him on the cusp that if he survives, the man that he could be. The telling Brienne that he wants to fight for her, and for him to really humble himself as he's been humbling himself.
That's true.
And just sort of owning, like, you knew these things. Him and Tyrion talk, and Tyrion's like, hey, you knew what Cersei was about. You loved her anyway.
Yeah.
But you always knew what she was.
Yeah.
And I think looking those truths and realizing, like, you know what? I made some bad calls here and there, but I'm a good person. Because I think what's been interesting about Jaime's character is, again, going back to, he was never really a bad guy, but he's kind of, what we envision of rich kids, what we assume them to be. They grow up in a world where they don't see what it's like down here. They don't get it,
I think attempted murder of a kid makes you a bad guy. Personally, that's my personal feeling.
His introduction to the series is not a particularly flattering one.
No.
But I
He
mean,
sneaks off, he bangs his sister, and he tries to kill the kid. That's-
For the sake of his sister.
for love,
No less.
but
where
no
the
less.
Things we
No
did
less,
for
but
life.
where I was going with that is, one thing that nobody ever talks about is, they do that because their world is small too. Because Tywin was a horrible father to all of them.
Yeah.
He didn't love none of them. They were just things, pawns, things for him to
They were his
control.
legacy.
They're his property,
Yeah, exactly. They were his legacy, but he had no love. So, if we think about it, hurt people hurt other people.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean is under different circumstances, he would have had a chance to flourish and be perhaps that person he's going to become. What we hope he becomes,
Which he was in the past, because
Yeah.
the thing that comes up every now and then and came up in this episode is he sat in the hall of the Mad King. He was part of the Kingsguard, sworn to protect the king, but he saw that the king was going to basically murder everyone, and he was mad. And he solved that problem on his own in technical violation of his oath, and made him very ostracized from society after that. Again, that's not something the first episode, but you pick up on that eventually,
Yeah.
and you realize that despite the weird shit he's got going on and the bad upbringing he has, at the core there was someone who was able to look past his own benefit and look to see that for the good of everyone else, the Mad King had to be put down, which Daenerys aside, no one really seems to argue that he needed to be put down. It's just they didn't like that he was the one that did it and how he did it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Daenerys, since I got the Targaryen Oreo, which I've done eaten by now, I'll speak a little bit on that, and it's interesting to see her character, who comes from humble beginnings and seemed to be a hero, now start to slowly turn into a villain.
Yeah.
Like, you can see that.
She's got her eye on the politics more than-
now you see that she really wants to be on the Iron Throne, and it's her only drive. And every time that she's met with something that would impede that, or something that would cause her to not become the king, there was a pause. We never get to see her full reaction.
Yeah.
There's like a pause, so it's kind of suspenseful. We don't know if Dany is fully power hungry, or if she would stop and have pause to think about it. It comes to that thing that Sam was saying, like, you've given up your kingship, you've given up your title for your people. Will she do the same?
Yeah.
And that's a question that every time we're met with it, it's left hanging. It seems as if she is looking to solidify power under herself, regardless of everything else. Is that going to cause her to become a mad queen?
Well, that brings us to another important moment, which is when she finds out that, Jon Snow is in fact a Targaryen. And, like, what does that mean for her? And then the fact that she, like you said, her only soft spot at this rate is Jon Snow.
Right.
But how's it going to play out now that she knows that he's the rightful heir?
Right.
To the Iron Throne. And then also just the Stark family in general, even though he's not a Stark, they invoke so much loyalty. Like Theon came back, he's like, I want to fight for you, Sansa. And then the fact that Brienne is there based on a promise that she made to their family as well. So
you can't be promising the Stark shit, because you're gonna have to, in the end, you're gonna have to pay at that. And a Lannister always pays their debt. So I'm wondering.
And
what
the
debts
North
do
remembers.
And the North remembers.
Yeah,
Yo,
the
that
North
fits
remembers.
together. You owe us.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see how all that plays out, and I think it was set up very well in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I also want to talk about was let's talk about Lady Mormont for a second.
Ooh.
Listen, I've loved this girl since she appeared. She's not taking anybody's crap. And
she looked fierce in her battle.
Yeah,
Oh my
her
God,
battle,
look at her ass.
But,
Do you want to see a fight scene with her and Arya back to back? That would be dope, right?
if she could fight, which makes me wonder if she's the one that we're sleeping on, because I'm wondering, if she trained with Brienne this whole time, she might be able to do some damage. Maybe give her a battle axe for her stature, because she would get them at the kneecaps more. But
I hope her hands ain't some trash. That'd be, she comes out there fighting like a little girl. You'd be like, come on, you supposed to be.
Yeah. But what really stuck out for me was acknowledging Jorah, calling him cousin. I don't know if everybody caught how important, because he was exiled from the family for whatever crime he committed,
Right.
And so, for him to go, and I think he was trying to take her place, not as the leader, but saying, let me step in this battle for you.
Yeah.
And she was no, my dudes are out there. My peoples is out there. I'm out there with my peoples.
Yeah.
But thank you, cousin.
Right.
Right. Which is just an acknowledgement of, I think past things can be forgiven. And again, we don't talk about him enough either. There's a guy who was truly on a redemption arc.
That's true.
Granted, he is the epitome of friend zone.
Right.
But
Poor guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very cool looking at this, right? That has taken, how many years? 10, 12 years to come to fruition. And then we have Avengers Endgame happening at the same time or whatever. Both of these stories, which are epic, which have crossed over years and years. People, like, it's basically been a generation of people who have grown up on this, and we're seeing this come to an end. And it's only got like 3 or 4 episodes, or we've got 4 episodes left. What do you guys want to see in the next 4 episodes? Or I guess we should keep it to the next episode. What do you want to see? Because we already made our predictions on who would die next. What do you want to see in the next episode?
I mean, we're going to see some shit next episode. I mean, which is one thing I'm like, it's like, one thing I've been a little concerned about is, considering how short this last season is going to be, 6 episodes, we've basically spent the first 2 episodes, which is 2/3 of the season, just moving pieces around and getting ready for something to actually now happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's had great character moments, it's been great at shuffling things, but if you really look back on it, the last 2 episodes, nothing's happened.
Yeah. So here's the
We're
thing.
gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, guessing. I have a prediction of sorts. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah,
Can
I have one too, so go ahead.
I have a
Beyond
prediction.
the wall, we have a prediction.
I have a prediction that the Night King is not going to fully attack Winterfell. He is going to flank and attack King's Landing.
You think so?
I think the dead are going to King's Landing first.
the dragon might be going.
I
You
think
don't think he want to try to take out Bran first?
I think he's going to go there. He's going to kill off all their reinforcements, all their
And
fallbacks,
assemble a
and
bigger
then
army?
yeah, because
Lay a
he gains
siege,
more.
lay a
and
siege
then-
to Winterfell, but then send the rest of his forces south because he's.
That means he's got more than enough.
Yeah, and they gain. That's the thing about the army of the dead. Like they just gain more dead.
Soldiers.
They don't really
Yeah.
suffer casualties. They always come back.
Yeah, unless
And that also
yeah.
brings up one thing. One thing we've seen in the opening credits for the very weird, truncated opening credits we have now, they keep showing that hall in King's Landing with the dragon skull and the giant crossbolt.
Yeah.
So if that's not Chekhov's crossbolts, I don't know what is. Like, it's not going to be in the opening credits for this season if it's
Right.
not
It's
flung
got
at
to be there.
something.
Yeah, man.
And the fact that they're
That's
showing it in King's Landing probably means we're going to get those dragons coming to King's Landing.
Okay.
Mm.
So,
What say you, Marianne, with the plan?
so I think something that caught my attention, and they talked about it a little bit, I think, in the first episode, but in the second episode, I was like, wait, say that again one more time. You
I
know?
like it when things catch your attention. You know why? Because I'm like, ooh, that's some shit I didn't even think about. When you're paying attention.
Right.
What happened?
Okay, so remember, like Sam, everybody's talking about where the people that aren't fighting are going to go
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Into the crypt.
into the crypt.
And that's been shown in the intro too.
Exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, Grandma always said when you're fighting a necromancer, don't put your family in the crypt.
Did she say that? When did she say that?
My grandma's awesome.
Oh.
I was going to say, I'm not sure I
I
want
was
to be
like,
your grandma.
But I was thinking about that because, and it's one of those things like I
my
rewound and I
goodness.
was like, wait
It's
a
just-
minute.
it's just
time
clicking
Wait,
with it.
time out.
out,
Was
time
that
out.
said? Was that a quote in the like? Don't.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It's just me being like fun about that.
Okay, but that like my mind is blown right now because I'm like, you're right.
Exactly. And if you go back to like the trailer,
Ned's coming back.
no, Ned's beheaded. I don't think the beheaded ones come
Oh.
back.
But did they
How-
send his head back to... We've seen some beheaded
See, this is
things.
why I don't pay attention. I get shit wrong.
So here's my big theory. For those that read the books, there's one character who didn't come back from the dead.
Khal Drogo.
No.
I just be wrong.
It
I
would
be so
be.
wrong.
But more importantly, the story of how he was buried in the Stark crypt would be even more fantastic, I'm sure. But the thing that
Who didn't come back?
spoilers, by the way, there was a big to do because Catelyn Stark in the books.
She didn't.
Now,
In the book, she did.
in the
Yeah.
book
But-
she did,
Yeah.
but
But she never
didn't.
came back in the show.
She never came back in the show.
Because one of the lives from the Lord of Light was used on Catelyn Stark to come back.
Yeah.
And she came back as Lady Stoneheart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've never seen Lady Stoneheart.
Right.
And we just all forgot about that.
So, so in the trailer, we saw Arya running. Arya's not a runner. So what's the one thing that Arya could see that might even put her like
A bigger Gendry. Sorry. That was stupid. That was, you're right. I should reel it back. I was doing too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so I'm a little I agree with you about the diverting everything. But the other side of me is, we don't really know how powerful the Night King is. We've seen him animate bodies, but we don't know, does he have to be right on top of them, or can he just feel the dead, as it were, and just go pop up like posies?
That was actually my favorite scene from the entire Game of Thrones series was that fight at Harrenhal. Is it Harrenhal?
Hardhome.
Hardhome.
At the end of the fight where they're going off on
yes,
the
where they're fighting as hard as they can possibly. They kill all these things, and they finally get away on the last boat.
And the Night
Deep
King
breath,
rolls
and the
up
Night King
basically
just looks
goes,
at him and just like, I have all your people and your giant.
I just
all
replaced.
of it,
I
all of
replaced everything you thought you killed, and I've added to my ranks everything I killed of yours.
Yeah.
And that at that moment, it's like a chill. It's like, yo, we're not going to
Yeah,
win.
that was not-
like we
It's
aren't
a
going to
numbers
win.
game that we
Chilling.
can't win.
That was not.
Yeah.
And like then you see that look on Jon Snow's face as he realizes and starts doing the math.
Right. He's like, oh shit.
It's
So-
like, this is difficult.
So,
Any takers on who's gonna die? Oh, I'm sorry.
well, Pat said that he had something he wanted to
Oh,
say to me.
oh,
Beyond the wall.
From Beyond the Wall.
We have a
From Beyond the
message.
Wall.
Come join the discussion, little Patrick.
I'll do it from Beyond the Wall.
Okay.
I think everybody, being that the only person that's only seen 2 episodes is not the impact like y'all have done.
No caveats. Where you go?
I think everybody in that room with Tyrion, Brienne, I think
The
everybody in
knights.
that room, they're gonna bite the big one. With the exception of Tyrion, because the little guy's the brains, like you said, they're gonna put him aside. But I think
Tyrion.
all that was basically a goodbye to all those characters. That whole moment, the
Some of
tenderness
them.
of
I
it all.
don't think all of them,
think
but I do think a large number of them are
gonna
going down.
I think
pretty
their
soon.
stories kind of just met its final moment there. So that's just my prediction. As well as the brother that kissed the fine chick.
No,
That's-
you cannot kill off Grey Worm.
I think Grey Worm,
Only-
his ass and those people in that room, I think are gonna die.
Only 2
I'm
black
just saying.
people in the whole show.
They gotta kill one of us.
First of all, Winterfell is racist. I'm so disappointed. Winterfell, they were just giving them weird stares and shit. They want to go to the beach. It's not.
I
It's
know,
not
right?
where it's at.
It's like-
Winterfell.
So with the exception of the little guy, I think the little guy's gonna survive because he's gonna
Don't
need to
call
be
him the
there. in
little
final
guy. Tyrion.
stage. My man Tyrion.
This
Little guy.
entire discussion is problematic.
This is everything is problematic here.
I'm just pointing out the obvious.
Yeah. I think pretty much all those cats. Yeah, I think the final players will be Tyrion, Sansa, Jon, Daenerys, and then I think like
And Arya.
Arya. No, Arya's I think is gonna die.
I think
she'll-
Arya's going to kill the Night King.
Yeah, I think she'll. But
Here's
she's
what
gonna
I
die.
think. I think the Night King is going to turn Cersei.
Daenerys will turn on
Arya's
Jon and
going to
kill
kill
Jon.
Cersei. And
She might be trying to get that.
Yeah,
dragon
like, wait,
too, though.
who's left on Arya's list?
I
think she's-
everybody, like a
I think
lot
she's
of
gonna
people.
get that
the
list.
mountain.
She's
I think
not-
she's definitely going to kill the mountain.
Yeah, she's not done until she finishes that list. I think the list is going to come back.
I mean,
Yeah.
minus the Hound and the
Mountain.
other dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she said she's been taking people off.
No,
the
not
list.
the mountain.
Dondarrion.
Yeah, there we
Derek
go.
Dondarrion.
Well,
Yeah.
some people already died. Like like they just kind of died off screen on their own. She's forgiven the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
That was that.
Presumably.
I think that whole little play with them, they've either got a momentary truce or there's a bit of forgiveness there because, just really quick, backtracking a little bit. While I love Arya, there's definitely something to be said about not understanding the nuances of war. And I think in hanging out with the Hound, it's very easy to point the finger and say, you should have done this, you should have done this, until you actually are in that spot. And then you're like, well, shit, no, this was a shit choice from jump. He operated with what he could do in the capacity that he could while still being able to breathe.
That being said, I still think Arya has a bone to pick with Cersei, and that has not at all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
not at all been.
Definitely.
for
Everyone's got a
sure.
bone to pick with Cersei.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even you're on AO.
Hey,
I got jokes sometimes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've said about enough for this episode, right? Is there anything else? Oh wait, there was one last thing. I thought it was cool that the Unsullied will fight through anything. They'll fight any war. But as soon as they get up there in the cold, they're like, "Yo, we out. This
Man, we getting out
this
of
is too
Dodge,
much.
yo. We
You
going to the beach.
trying to get out of here? Like,
Yeah.
Like, we'll help you get rid of your enemies and stuff, but we don't have to go.
yeah, we gonna have to
Yeah.
get somewhere warm.
Yeah, we forgot to bring the right boots. We'll be back later.
Yeah. I do want to say this. I do think this episode did a fantastic job of finishing business.
Yeah.
Closing loops.
Yeah.
Closing
Right.
loops.
Right.
I'll tell you out the gate, because I think you asked earlier, I really do think we're not going to see Davos very much longer. I think there was a reason why he pointed out how many battles he's been in and he survived. Everybody's luck runs out sometime, and I don't see him having a huge part anymore past that. I also
Although he
think
was a smuggler, so he might be the one who could get them to Dragonstone.
Well, I mean,
maybe.
it depends on where they're going with how they want to wrap up the series. Whether they want to wrap up the whole Army of the Dead thing first, then deal with the Iron Throne, or if they're planning on settling the Iron Throne beforehand or at the same, depending on what the timeline they're going at, depends on what relevance these characters have. If there's still going to be machinations after the Army of the Dead for an episode or two, we still need some of these characters around because they've got a part to play. If it's going to be solved through the whole Army of the Dead thing, then yeah, they've played their course. All the players are at the board
Here's my
where they need to
thing.
be.
Like after the Night King gets what he wants and he kills everybody and there's a zombie army. There's no need for an army because everybody's under your control. Does he like start commerce or something? Like does he just start all these cities over with the Army of the Dead? Like all right, this is boring. Why don't y'all go and set up shop over here? We'll have a little business over here.
I mean,
What does he do?
In all seriousness, that's one thing that the show hasn't addressed and probably will at some point this season. They've touched on it very briefly in brief scenes in the past. Like when Bran did his little time travel thing, he witnessed the creation of the Night King. But there's been no real explanation of why that happened, how that happened,
Or what he wants to go to.
what the Night King cares about any of this. I assume that since they've delved very briefly into that, they intend on revisiting that at some point just to explain what the hell does he care?
Yeah. So, well, this brings me to another question then.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the Night King, and things are going to be answered. The one question that never got answered is what was up with those babies?
That's how he created the whites, the ones that aren't the dead, but the white looking
Oh,
guys.
yeah, because they're still alive.
Well, what
So
they
they're-
are, we don't know, but what they aren't are raised dead.
Well,
they
that's,
are.
yeah,
Those
they're
are
not
those.
raised from the dead.
Because remember,
yeah.
he takes the baby, and one time it develops white skin and the bright blue eyes, and that's what his generals and the people who follow
That was
him
from the
around
very
look like,
first. Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than looking like skeletons like everything
Right,
else that
right.
he follows around. So
That's
that's
true.
that's
So
more or
he
less
ages
been
them.
explained. I don't know about age. I don't know
They just grow
how
up.
How
They just
they
grow up
age,
as
how long it
they
takes them.
turn.
whatever they are. They're
Oh, and that's
separate
where he
from the
was.
rest of the army.
That's
of
what
the
he
dead.
was taking
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
Craster's
all the
keep or
babies
whatever
that he
when he
was-
was having them have babies, and then he would just take the babies from them. Remember
Right.
Craster? Yeah.
Which, it's a far stretch, but just remember that Jilly still has Craster's baby.
That's true. And he might want that too.
I don't think he really cares.
At this
He
point.
wants Bran and that baby.
Like-
I think that's going to be a good diversion.
He wants Bran. The babies, he somehow is able to come up with some kind of deal with Craster where
He takes
I
them.
will leave you alone, but you need to keep producing babies that I can corrupt and turn into my
Yeah. But-
lieutenants.
Baby generals.
But if all his
Is it like
lieutenants
they're
die,
definitely-
he might want that last baby as the baby to take.
Yeah, like, I
so
don't-
that would be a good diversion. Like he wants the three-eyed raven, but it's the other thing that he might need to divert him from going. For the
I
three-eyed
don't
raven.
think he really cares or it's really relevant that it's a Craster's baby. I think it's easier or it's possible for him to corrupt an infant and turn him into a white. And he just had a convenient deal with Craster. I don't think that's really going to come up the way you're talking about because he can find a baby anywhere.
Okay, all right.
Babies
Well,
abound.
I
He
feel
didn't.
like
But that's
But he didn't because he was above the wall.
because he was. But even beyond the wall, I guess that's my thing is because
Well, he's got the generals he needs right now. Right now, he's in his end game. He's
Right.
not looking to spend another 5 years raising
yeah,
lieutenants. He's got the hole in the wall. He's marching south. He's trying to get
He's
his
got a
business
dragon.
done.
right.
So
So yeah, so that was just my question. Is where is this going?
yeah, interesting. Well, where is this going? We don't know. I guess we will find out in the next episode. Episode 3, we don't have the name of it yet, but we will after this week. So I feel like that is it, guys. Anything left to add?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we got him singing! Hey! So thanks for checking this out, guys. We are the NRW crew. I am Glenn Lawrence, CC the Geek, Marianne, and CY. We are signing off in our Game of Thronesian way.
Wait! Before we hit one more thing, we forgot one small thing. Welcome back to Jon Snow's four-legged buddy.
Oh yeah,
That
go.
wasn't
Go,
small though. He was like a mini ghost.
That's
yourself.
and be-
And remember, what's dead may never die.
What is dead, man?
Remember-